Hey guys, I'm Stephanie,
And I'm Tiffany.
and we're Sisters of the South. We are back today with another true crime video. But before we get started, we'd like to ask that you hit that like button. Also, hit the subscribe button and hit that bell button. So every time we upload a new video, you can come join us. Also, we would like to give a big shout out to our friends and vendor over at SoFly.
SoFly.
SoFly!
Not so small.
So small.
Not no more. Yeah.
SoFly is a family-owned business here in the Houston area, and they specialize in embroidery and laser work. So what they'll do is they'll take your logo, your initials, your name, and they'll put it on an accessory such as a t-shirt, a hoodie, a cap, a purse. With the lasering, they can do carving boards, keychains, tumblers, anything like that. I would love for you guys to try them because they do our merchandise, and we know that you'll be happy. But to show you a little bit of their work, we're going to show you a video. So here we go.
All right, guys, we hope you enjoyed that video. Go check them out. Let them know we sent you. And if you buy something, send us a picture.
Yeah, and we will drop their information in the description box below. So check them out. So from here, we're going to get started on the story. So I'll turn it over to Tiff now.
All right, guys, so I apologize for the way I say words today. It has been a week with school ending, which is always crazy. And she just had a new grandbaby.
I did.
Yeah.
I had a beautiful granddaughter. She is beautiful and healthy, and she also is a great aunt now. So,
well, I have been, but
yes, she
to
has
a different.
Been, this is a new. This is a new greater aunt because she's older.
Hey. I'm not, guys. I'm going backwards like Benjamin Button.
We're trying.
Can't
We're
you
trying.
tell? No, I haven't been able to meet this precious, perfect baby yet, and I'm heartbroken. I was kind of in tears, but they better watch out because I'm coming.
She's the badass auntie. So,
Yeah, okay.
And I'm the badass grandma. So we're and you know what though? Let me scratch that. My grandbaby has two badass grandmas, but we're completely different in our own way.
Yeah,
so
true.
Move over. We are going to take hold and we're going to show you the ropes. So we can't wait.
And in our family, they don't always have to watch out for the men being crazy. It's the women.
This is so true.
Yeah, and we just keep brewing more.
Yeah.
More and more ladies coming. So
yeah, them strong ladies. Y'all better watch out. They're coming.
Yeah. Okay, guys. With all that being said,
we're so excited over this new journey. We ended last year on a sad journey, and it's been challenging this year. So having a new addition to our family has been so exciting. So we needed that.
Absolutely.
So welcome to the world, you beautiful girl.
Yay. All right, guys. So Timothy James Pitzen was born on October 18th, 2004 in Aurora, Illinois, and was the only child of James Pitzen and Amy Fry Pitzen. Timothy was described as extroverted and energetic, a happy and playful child. On May 11th, 2011, 6-year-old Timothy was dropped off by his father, James, at his kindergarten class at Greenman Elementary School. In an interview, James said, "I told him I loved him and to be good, then he was gone." James watched as Timothy ran toward his teacher, swinging his Spider-Man backpack.
Oh,
I know. I can see it.
Yes, me too.
About 30 minutes later, between 8:10 and 8:15, Timothy was checked out of school by his mother, Amy, claiming there was a family emergency. Security footage shows them leaving the school around 8:30. James had no idea Timothy had left the school, only finding out when he came back to pick Timothy up at the end of the day.
That is horrifying.
It is.
Yeah.
It really is. James checked the house and Amy's work with no luck of finding Amy or Timothy. He called her phone, but it went straight to voicemail. After not hearing from Amy, James reported the two missing the next morning, May 12th, 2011.
I have a quick question.
Mhm.
So, was James and Timothy's mother still together?
Yes, they were.
Okay, so they were not separated or divorced.
They were, from what it says, they were talking about splitting up. Or
Okay.
she was saying, I don't think they were getting along, but they were still together.
I see. Okay.
So, where was Amy and Timothy? After checking Timothy out of school, Amy dropped her vehicle off at a repair shop at 10 a.m. An employee of the repair shop drove Amy and Timothy to the Brookfield Zoo, which is now called the Chicago Zoological Park in Brookfield. Amy and Timothy then returned to pick up her vehicle from the repair shop at 3 p.m. and drove to the Key Lime Cove Resort in Gurnee, Illinois, which is about an hour from Aurora, where they spent the night. The next day on May 12, 2011, Amy and Timothy drove to Kalahari Resort in Wisconsin Dells, Wisconsin, which is 2.5 hours from Gurnee, Illinois. Both Amy and Timothy were spotted on the Kalahari Resort security camera footage in the checkout line at 10 a.m. the morning of May 13, 2011. Security footage also shows Timothy following his mom and playing with a toy truck on the floor. Timothy was happy and didn't seem to have any distress. The two of them were seen walking away hand in hand, and this is the last time Timothy was seen on security footage. Amy never returned James's calls, but she did check in with her mother between 12 p.m. and 1 p.m. on May 13, 2011. Amy called her mother, letting her know that they were both fine and they would be home in a day or two, and that she just needed some space. It was noted that Timothy could be heard in the background of the call stating he was hungry. So everything was fine. Amy also called her brother-in-law, which was James's brother. She told him everything was fine, but Timothy belongs to me.
Okay.
At 7:25 p.m. on May 13, 2011, Amy was seen on security cameras at a Family Dollar in Winnebago, Illinois, where she purchased a pen, notebook paper, and envelopes. She was alone, no Timothy. At 8 p.m., she was seen at Sullivan's food store in Winnebago, alone again, with no Timothy. At 11:15 p.m. that night, Amy checked into the Rockford Inn in Rockford, Illinois. Altogether, Amy had driven over 500 miles in 3 days.
Wow.
At 12:30 the next day, May 14th, 2011, Amy's body, along with a note, was found by a hotel housekeeper. There was no sign of Timothy. The note found with Amy said she was sorry for the mess she had created and explained that Timothy would never be found, but was safe with people who would care for him.
Wow.
So police would later say that she had self-inflicted cuts on her neck and wrist and a lethal dose of drugs in her system. Police found that the knife Amy had used to kill herself contained only her blood, but that there was a concerning amount of blood found in her car that belonged to Timothy. However, a family member later revealed that the stains were likely caused by a nosebleed Timothy had suffered in the car earlier that month. Police also noted that Amy's phone was missing.
Okay. So I'm going to go back to the beginning.
Okay.
Where she drops her vehicle off to be repaired.
Yes.
So if my thinking is, and I know you can probably throw all of this out the window, but why would you get your car repaired if you're planning on offing yourself? Is my first question. Unless somewhere along her travels, she decided that was the only thing to do.
Exactly. But she also knew she needed a way to travel these 500 miles. So maybe there was something going on with the car.
Yeah, what was the purpose of her travels?
Right.
Yeah, like what was she doing?
Yeah.
And then the next thing that's just popping off the page here is, so they found a concerning amount of blood in the car that belonged to Timothy
Yes, which they said was a nosebleed.
from a month prior. But I'm just thinking, I'm not going to be driving around in my car for a month after my son had a bad nosebleed and not clean that up. So was she not a very good housekeeper?
Okay, well, I was going to say,
Or,
there are those people that do not clean their cars.
But blood?
I don't know. Some people are.
That's just, to me.
Or
That
maybe she
doesn't make
cleaned it and it
sense.
was just the stains. I don't know, but that's a lot of stains,
But they're saying
a concerning
a
amount.
concerning amount to me would be just blood everywhere, just sitting there in my mind. Not, I mean,
Not
'cause they
stains from a
didn't,
nosebleed.
yeah, because they're not even saying where it looked like it had been wiped or tried to be cleaned up. And typically in a police report, they will state if that blood had been smeared or had, they could tell the smell of cleaning product that they had tried to clean it. So
And there was nothing. Yeah.
in my mind, I'm not feeling good that that's from a nosebleed from a month prior at this point.
I
That's
kind of felt that way
speculation.
too.
Yeah.
But there's no way of knowing
Yes.
at this point.
Because all they have is video footage.
Yes. Everywhere she went, there was video footage.
Yeah.
Too. It wasn't just one place.
Yeah.
Police claim there are no indications that Timothy's disappearance was planned. Amy's cell phone showed one of her last calls pinged off a cell tower near Sterling, Illinois. Using toll records, police found that Amy had made 2 trips to that area months earlier.
Okay.
Which I don't understand that. If they're saying, oh, well, we don't believe that this was planned, but she kind of made this trip before.
Twice already.
Yeah.
So how do they know?
They don't know.
It's
I'm
a
sorry.
huge
They really
possibility.
don't. To me, you can't convince me that she didn't at least have a sense of something, considering she's already made that trip.
Yes. And that's not a usual route for her.
Well, yeah. Was it ever said that she took him out of school and they made these little trips before? Was this a normal thing?
Right.
Did she make this trip alone?
Yeah. Was she known to come up missing for a few days with Timothy or even by
That's
herself?
500 miles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
So, despite a massive effort early on, the case seemed to quickly go cold. In 2013, Amy's cell phone was located. A woman had found the phone on the side of the road in Illinois in 2011, but had not realized the significance of it. The phone sat on a shelf for 2 years until the woman gave it to her brother when he needed a new phone. Okay.
What? If it's been sitting on the side of the road, it's probably damaged. Why are you holding on to the phone? I find that odd.
I did too.
Unless she's a hoarder of some sorts and they just keep things, but that's weird to me.
Yeah, but it's someone else's phone. I don't know. I thought that was strange.
Well,
but
yeah.
once they turned it on, a family friend recognized some of the names in the contact list and they turned it over to police.
Well, that's good.
But unfortunately, nothing came of it. But at least they found the phone.
Yes, absolutely.
Amy's tombstone describes her in 2 words: loving mother. Families said Amy named Timothy with 2 M's because she wanted him to feel special. In a CNN interview, Amy's mother said she just adored that little boy and he just adored her. So what happened to Timothy?
Mm-hmm.
In 2015, police pursued a tip after a Florida caller said there was a boy in her neighborhood who looked a lot like an age-progressed image of Timothy that had been produced by the National Center of Missing and Exploited Children. According to a Chicago Tribune report, the caller said the boy had moved into her neighborhood soon after Timothy's disappearance. She said the family's vehicle had a Midwestern license plate and that the boy never went to school. Aurora investigators agreed the boy looked a lot like the progression photograph, but it was not Timothy. Which is very sad. I mean, you give the family hope and there's nothing.
So I'm assuming they did DNA?
I'm assuming that's how they found it. They just said that it wasn't. And I'm how else would you know, right?
Yes.
So then on April 3rd, 2019, local residents in Newport, Kentucky called police to report a teenager wandering the streets after running across a bridge over the Ohio River. When police found the shaken and distraught boy, he told them he was Timmothy Pitzen. Turns out the man who claimed to be Timothy was found to be 23-year-old Brian Michael Rennie. He was released from Belmont Correction Institution in Ohio less than a month prior to his claim, after serving about 14 months on charges of burglary and vandalism. He had a history of mental illness and had been diagnosed with Asperger syndrome and bipolar disorder. He was sentenced to 2 years in prison for the hoax, which is really heartbreaking. But where did he pick up his name?
Yeah, exactly.
That's so random that he just
It's extremely
Timothy.
random.
Yeah.
And to me, I'd be investigating his background history to see where he was during the time Timothy went
Yeah, did
missing.
he know Timothy at some point?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really random.
Especially being in Kentucky, it's
Yes.
away from it, it's years later.
Kentucky versus Illinois. That's quite a few miles. Now,
Why his name?
did he randomly see it in a newspaper or on the TV? But still, I mean, he just picked Timothy?
Yeah,
That's crazy to me.
I think so too. So, Aurora Police spokesman Sergeant Bill Rowley said, although we were disappointed that this turned out to be a hoax, we remain diligent in our search for Timothy as our missing persons case remains unsolved. Through the years, James has said he believed his son was alive and out there somewhere. He even kept working on a tree house he was building for Timothy. James said he didn't understand why Timothy hadn't tried to call, wondering what exactly Amy might have told their son during those days in May 2011.
Mm.
James told People magazine that he and Amy had taught Timothy how to call 911. They even gave him an ID card made for children with Timothy's name, picture, and fingerprint so if he got lost, they could find him. The ID card was found in the hotel room where Amy died.
Wow. She took it.
She did. On the 13-year mark of Timothy's disappearance, James asked MCMEC to share this message to his son. Dear Timothy, the years apart have been hard. I am so looking forward for us to be reunited. There is so much of your young life that I have not been able to be a part of while you have been missing. The future is bright, and I look forward to spending time with you and getting to know my son again. Till I see you again. Love, Dad.
Mm.
Of course, everyone's asking the question, why would Amy do this?
Yeah.
It was later said in an interview with People magazine that Amy and James were going through a rough patch. James said that Amy had previously survived a attempt and had been taking medication for depression. He said the two of them had been arguing before Amy left with Timothy because Amy took a cruise with a friend for her birthday, leaving James behind. James said Amy, who had been divorced 3 times before, had mentioned splitting up. Friends and family speculate that her behavior may have been in fear of losing custody of Timothy if she and James divorced, and that was just not something Amy could handle.
I can see that if you're not rational at the moment.
Right.
But there's too many open-ending questions and mystery involved. So, I mean, did she give him to somebody? Obviously, she didn't sell him. I'm sure they would have been able to locate some sort of trail, but what's the point if she's not going to stay alive? Why would you take money? There's a lot of questions. Obviously, she was not right in her mind.
Exactly. She had a mental health issues.
Yeah. It doesn't seem that they knew if she was maybe an alcoholic or maybe had some sort of drug addiction.
Didn't say.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I can't imagine being in a place where you're like, I just want my child safe. What was her thinking that he wasn't going to be safe with
With
his
his
dad?
dad. Mhm.
Yeah,
Right. And maybe she was not in her right mind to even think that. Maybe her
right.
mind was Timothy won't be okay without me.
Without me, right.
A lot of the times when you're grappling with your own mind, it's more of involving you and not so much the other person, especially if you're going through trials with them.
Right.
And you don't know how to solve the issue. Probably all she needed to do was sit down and talk to him, and they could have settled this situation in a divorce, maybe, um, you know, peacefully. But in her mind, it was so chaotic. She didn't even consider that as a possibility.
Right. It's just really sad that we don't know what happened to Timothy.
Yes.
Where is he?
And she
Is he
stated
with
he'll never
someone?
be found.
Yeah. So somewhere along this trail, there is Timothy.
Yes. Well,
Did she meet up with someone?
yeah.
Something happen to him? Something in where she went, because at some point he was not with her.
Yeah, I would think that if someone had taken him and raised him,
By now, they would know something, right?
I would think by now Timothy would have come out and said something because he was old enough to have those memories,
Mhm.
or someone would have seen something. And it sounds like people are so aware of this story that they are still looking for Timothy.
Right.
But I would think by now, um, 23 years later, 24 years later, that someone would have seen something or Timothy would come forward.
I agree.
And that's hard to say. That's, to me, that's just reality.
But until they figure it out,
Yeah.
that's all they can do is have hope. But NCMEC has highlighted Timothy's case many times over the years. If you have any information about Timothy or his disappearance, please call NCMEC at 800-843-5678 or the Aurora, Illinois Police Department at 630-256-5516.
Yeah, guys, if you've seen anything, I think really to locate Timothy, somewhere along that route, somebody seen something somewhere. Even if you don't think it's significant, it's highly probable
Yeah.
it's significant. Um, but the sad part is Timothy at the end of the day. I mean, it's sad for his dad. Absolutely. I would just be beside myself. I would
Ugh.
probably be following that route that she took over and over and over again. I can't even imagine what he's gone through with
Oh,
that.
you drop your child off at school. Hey, buddy, I'll see you this afternoon. I mean, if that happened to me, I drop my kids off every day.
It's just a normal day.
I don't think I could. I don't even know if I could process that. Like,
No.
where do you begin?
Well, yeah, because you're probably still reliving that day over and over and over again in your
What did I
mind.
miss before I left the house with my child
Yeah.
that this was going to happen?
Yeah. Did Amy say something, or, was there a clue? You'd be going back in your mind of conversations,
Mhm.
her friends, there's so many things. But to me, and I know she loved her son,
Yeah.
but like, why would you, if you love your son that much, why would you want to take his dad away from him? Even if they were having problems,
And
you know what
that's
I
what
mean?
you have to wonder what was going through her mind that he would not be safe with his dad. I
Yeah,
mean,
what was going on behind closed doors? Unfortunately, in true crime, you have to think that way. I'm not saying
exactly.
anything was. I'm saying there's more to the
What gave
story.
her that reason
Yeah,
in her
there's
mind?
there's so many missing
What
pieces.
okay, because you have to think, what is your biggest fear as a mom? Like,
Losing
I
my
need
child.
even if I die, God takes me out at 98, I'm still gonna be I gotta make sure my kids are okay.
Yes, absolutely.
That's your first thought no matter how old they are. What made her think he would be more safe with someone else
Versus his dad.
versus his dad?
Yeah. And then the next question is, what did she do with Timothy?
Yeah.
Did she give him away, or did she, you know,
You
get
would
rid of
think
him?
she would have if she did, that it would have been done at the same time.
Yes, where they found them together.
Yeah.
But maybe in her mind, she wanted to bring Timothy's dad
Pain.
some pain.
Well, she did.
Yeah. And he's still living it because he
Yeah.
has no idea. So, wow, this is a sad story for everyone
Mhm.
in that family and anyone that knew them.
Yeah.
So, mm.
So yeah, guys, let us know what you think.
What is your theory on what could have happened? Maybe her state of mind, because I've never been in that state of mind.
Right.
I'm sure your mind can come up with all kinds of ideas and things um, that someone who is not grappling with that wouldn't even think of.
Well, yeah, your mind can kind of be your worst enemy
It sure
sometimes, right?
can. Absolutely. And so, yeah, let us know what you think, guys. What is your theory about what happened? We just need to bring Timothy home, whatever that means at this point, just to bring some peace to his dad and to that family.
Right.
Even Amy's mom and dad and siblings or whatever, even that side of the family, you know, they're at a loss too. They lost Amy and Timothy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just yeah, let us know what you think, guys. I'm puzzled.
Yeah, me too. So, yeah, guys, leave us some comments. But until our next episode, please remember to see the good and stay
stay
imperfectly
imperfectly perfect.
perfect. Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.